Hello everybody. Today's video lecture is going to be on Excel Lesson 6, as well as I'm going to gear it towards basically kind of a test prep. So on Wednesday when we have the exam, you will be ready for the exam. Remember, the exam is going to start at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. Again, I will post it as well, but 2 o'clock on Wednesday will be the Excel exam. All right, let me bring over Excel from my other screen. All right, first of all, we have again, remember with all Excel documents, remembering to resize and or merge cells. All right, so again, remember the saying that I gave you was merge when you can, resize when you have to. So if we go up into cell A1, again, it goes all the way to C1. There's nothing in those cells, so we can merge. So we would highlight them and click on the Home tab, merge across. Same for A2, all the way to AD, or D2, I'm sorry. So again, I would highlight, click on the down arrow, and merge across. Now, another area we have is right here in cells B5 to B8. We can't see the names, but here we can no longer merge because we have data in the cell to the right. So in this case, again, we'd have to resize. So what we do, we simply want to make the column B larger. I stick my cursor between B and C and simply double click. And now you will see that it has resized that row to fit. We also have the auto sum. Say that we want to fill in our totals here. So again, remember you have to highlight the data that you want to sum, as well as the place for the answer, and go up Home tab, Editing, Auto Sum, and it puts our sum in there. Now, again, also remember, if all of the numbers that we're adding and the place where we're putting the answers is in the same place, we can do it in one step. We can highlight all 4 rows and our answer and click Auto Sum. Now, also, if we're going to center this data, say the directions tell you to center cells C5 to G8. Again, I would click on the upper left and drag down to the lower right. And then in Home tab, Alignment, and right here, Center. And we have all the information centered. The other thing that we're going to look at is the autofill. Okay, so in cell A5, we have E100. Say we want to give our employees numbers. We're going to number them E101, E102, E103. So again, I would select that column. And again, remember right here in the bottom right corner of the green box, you get a solid green box. Put your cursor over it, and our cursor changes to a crosshair. Click on it and drag down and let go. And now we have filled the series. E100, E101, E102, E103. So we have finished our series. Okay, so now, and again, if we look down here, we have sheet 1. So we're going to rename the tab as well as change the color of that tab. To rename it, simply double click. Notice how it highlights in gray. Again, remember, anytime something highlights in gray, blue, or black in Microsoft, simply type. And we're going to call this Sales. Okay, so now click away. So now it is active. Now to change the color, put my cursor over it, right click, tab color, and let's change it to blue. So again, that is changing the name of a tab and giving the tab a color. Now, those are kind of the things that were discussed that we did in all the assignments in lessons 1 and 2. Now we're going to kind of move on to lesson 6. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to insert a table. The biggest thing to do about a table, the biggest thing to remember about a table, the most important part is the data. Okay, you have to select the data correctly. If you do not select the data correctly, you're not going to get a correct table or chart or graph. So in this case, what we're going to do is the directions are going to tell us select B5 to F8. Now we're inserting a table, so we're going to click on the Insert tab. And then you don't have to do this, but this is something new in Office 2013. It's called Recommended Charts. For the purposes of this class, you're always going to be told what type of chart to use. But if you're ever wondering on your own, say if you're trying to figure out what chart to use, because different charts are better for different things. For example, I've got a lot of data selected right here. So a pie chart wouldn't be that good. So if I click on Recommended Charts, it's going to tell me what kind of charts I should use. I should either use a clustered bar, or a clustered column, or possibly a line. So again, all those different things, it tells you, what kind of charts will be best. So we're going to choose right here a column chart. You always have to click the down arrow to see what kind, whether or not we're going to do a clustered column, a stacked column. Again, notice how when I'm putting my cursor over them, it tells you what type of column it is. And again, here's 100% stacked, and then we get down into 3D clustered, 3D stacked. So again, the directions will tell you I'm going to choose 3D stacked. So I click on it. Now, you'll notice I have a chart. The chart, right here, is highlighted in a double white line. That lets me know that I'm actually working in the chart. Another way to tell that you're working in the chart is I can look up here. I have the Chart Tools Contextual tab. That Contextual tab has two tabs, a Design tab and a Format tab. And we'll be using both of these. So again, when I have the chart selected, I can work on the chart, and I get the Chart Tools Contextual tab that includes two tabs, Design and Format. Now, an FYI, we don't print anymore, we just upload everything to D2L. But if I go to print this right now, all I'm going to print is a large one-page chart. To print your worksheet, you have to get out of the chart. Notice how once I clicked out of it, I have now a single skinny line. Now if I go to print, I will print the data as well as the chart. So to get back in the chart, I'm just clicking on it again, and I will highlight it. Now, we want to name our chart. Notice right now it just says chart title. Sometimes it's going to pick up from our table what to name it. Other times it might not. In this case, I didn't, so I have to double click on the chart title, highlight it, and then just type my new title. I'm just going to call this Quarterly Sales. Now, also, many times you may have to move the chart. The chart is covering a little bit of the data. It also would print off 2 pages. To move a chart within the worksheet, I always say just put your cursor right here in the white area. Hold your mouse down, and then just move it. You'll notice it's moving around for me. If I go over here and let go, I've just placed the chart where I want it to. So again, just click in the white area, move it to where you're supposed to, and let go. So that's moving the chart. I am a couple other things in the Design tab of the Chart Tools Contextual tab. I might not like this layout. The directions might tell you, change it to Layout 3. So I can go up here to Quick Layouts, okay, Chart Tools Contextual tab, Design tab, Chart Layouts, Quick Layout. If I hold my cursor over here, I have Layout 1. Cursor there, Layout 2. Cursor there gives me Layout 3, and I'm going to choose Layout 3. So again, that gives me the different layout. I could also change the chart style up here. Um, so again, we have different styles. That's style 4, style 3, style 2. So again, you may have to switch the styles. All right, and then I may also, maybe I don't even like this cluster chart, okay, the bar chart. Maybe I want to change the chart to a line chart. So again, I can go up here to type, change chart type, click on it, click on line, and click on quarterly sales, and say OK. So now I've changed it to a line graph. So again, you can, if you want to change your type, you can just go up here to change type. Okay, so you'll notice again we have the line graph for each one of our 4 sales reps. Talos here is in the blue, Leisha is in the red, Brian is in the green, and Amy is in the purple. We can also do what's called a trend line. If we want to see over the period of time what has been the trend for that particular person or that particular line graph. For that we go to, again, design, chart layouts, add a chart element, trend line, and generally you're going to be doing a linear. So I'll click on linear. Now it's going to ask you, okay, which one do you want to do the trend line for? For this one, we're just going to choose Brian. So I'll click on Brian and say OK. So now you'll notice there's a dashed line right here. That's the trend line for Brian's sales over the year. So again, that is a trend line. The other thing we might want to look at is called a spark line. A spark line is just adding a little chart to a particular cell. So let's say we want to put our spark line for each one of our sales reps in column H. So for a spark line, we have to go to Insert. All right, and you will see over here spark lines. Now, the first thing you have to do is select either your data or where you want the spark lines to go. So I'm going to put them right here in cells H5 to H8. So now I can spark lines. Basically, the two we're going to use are either a line or a column. I'm going to choose a column. So I click on it. So now we have it here. The answer or the spark line is going to go in cells H5 to H8. So now I have to select the data. So I'll select the data. We're going to use each one of the quarters. So it's going to put in here C5 to C8. And now I say OK. And you will notice I have now a little bar chart in each one of the cells for each one of the sales reps. Again, I can go up here and change the color if I want, the style. I can click on high point. So now their best quarter is going to be highlighted in red. I can click on low point, and that one, we'll notice you'll see these really low reds. So again, those are markers that you can put on. Okay, so now let's insert a pie chart. So I'm just going to go back home. Now, again, biggest part about a pie chart is selecting the cells, the correct data. In this particular range, we're going to go with cells B5 to B8 and G5 to G8. So, again, I highlight B5 to B8. And then if I go over here to G5 to G8 and highlight it, what happens? I no longer have this highlighted. So this is where, again, you have to use your control key. So first of all, do not hold the control key down first. Highlight your first set of information. Then hit the control key and then highlight your second set of cells. And it's common for people to do this, what they're going to do is in their mind they're thinking, oh, I got to hold the control key down. I got to hold the control key down. So they hold the control key down, and then they come over here and highlight the data. And then they come over here and highlight the cells. But look right here. Since that's where my active cell was when I first held down the control key, that cell is also highlighted. Now, if I try to insert a chart, Excel's going to go, what do I do with this cell? one of two things are going to happen. You're going to get a blank chart, or you're going to get an error that tells you basically Excel can't figure out what you want to do. So again, remember, highlight your first cells first, hold the Control key down, and then I'm going to actually add G4 to G8. So now I have them highlighted. So again, we're going to insert a pie chart. So I click on Insert, right here, Pie Charts, click on the down arrow, and I'm going to go with a 3D. Let's see what happens when I have that extra cell it can't figure out. So again, I'm just going to go back to here, and then again, B5 to B8, Control key, G4 to G8. Insert, Chart, 3D. So now I have my pie chart. Now, the next part we're going to do is adding data labels. And I want you to remember this part. This is probably the most missed thing on the test, is data labels. Now, again, notice when we have the chart, we have the Chart Tools Contextual tab, Design and Format. With the Design tab, go over to Add Chart Element. Click on the down arrow, go to Data Labels, and then go down to More Data Labels. And you will get this dialog box. So again, for data labels, Chart Tools, Design, Add Chart Element, down arrow, Data Labels, More Data Labels. Now right now, it's showing the value, which is their total sales. And down here you have a legend. Again, that's telling you Talos is in blue, Leisha is in maroon, Brian is green, and Amy is purple. The directions may tell you we want to have category name and percentage instead. So I would go over here, click on category name, and I would click on percentage. And I didn't need value, so I'm going to click off that one. So now you'll see we have the category names, which is what their names are, and the percentage of the sales they had. And I can also go down here, and do I want it in the center? Do I want it on the inside end? Do I want it on the outside end? Or best fit? Again, we're just going to choose the outside end. So now I have my data labels. Now I've got, since I have their names here, down here in the legend, a lot of the times you're going to see the directions tell you to delete the legend. Again, the legend is down here. Click in it, and simply click on your delete key. So now I have, again, my pie chart. I have to go up here to the title, and I'm going to call it total sales. So now I have my chart named. Now, the next thing is the second most missed thing on the test. We're going to move this chart to its own chart page. Now, what many people do is they click on the chart and then go up here to Home, Cut, open a new worksheet, and paste. Oops, that didn't work. Oh, I just copied the title. So I'm going to go Cut, go to Sheet 1, and paste, and there's my chart. Okay, again, that's a common mistake. That is not what you want to do. I have now broken my link to my data, and so again, to do a chart page, make sure the chart is selected. Make sure your Design tab is selected, and go over here to Location to Move Chart. I click on that. Right now, this particular chart is an object in my Sales worksheet. Again, here's my worksheet Sales. We're going to put it on its new sheet. We have it on the new sheet, and notice how, again, it says Chart 1. It's highlighted. It knows we're not going to leave the tab name called Chart 1. So again, I'm going to type in total sales, and say OK. Now I have this on my own chart page. All right. So again, you'll see this is a chart page. It's not a chart just pasted into another worksheet. I'm going to go down here and change the color. And now the last thing I'm going to do is this is our main worksheet here. So we might want the sales worksheet to be first. Notice how right now after I inserted the chart page is now first. To move the tab, again, I want to make the sales tab first. So I just click on it. Notice how my cursor now has a little piece of paper by it. And in between the total sales and the sales tab, you see a little upside down pyramid. Now if I move to the front, notice how that pyramid moved to the front. My paper's now in the front. I let go. And now I've moved the tab. It's a simple click and drag. If I wanted to move it back, I could move it back. Move it back to the front, move it to the front. So now I've reordered my tabs, so the sales tab is first. Now, basically, what I have done right now is basically step for step your test. So if you're able to do all of these things, you're going to get 50 out of 50. And like I said, the word test is probably the hardest test. And they get a little bit easier each time. I quite commonly have perfect scores on the Excel test. So again, this is test prep and chapter 6 lecture. I will see you all on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. If you have any questions, send me an email. Have a great night or day. Bye.